70412. Contact her for all your clothing needs. Today we are talking about cervical cancer. If you're a woman, you're a man, please don't flip, don't go anywhere. I want you to share this video. It will be a blessing to somebody. Women are going through a lot, but we don't have information. Today we are going to get a lot of information. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned as we talk to this beautiful lady, Miss, right? Miss Frederica Crunchy. She's a senior midwife of the Reproductive Health Center at Kolebu. She's going to talk to us about cervical cancer. If you have any questions, please write it on the comment section. I will ask her for you. So, welcome, Frederica.
Oh, thank you so much.
We are talking about cervical cancer. Many women are dying slowly from cervical cancer, hence this program.
Yes.
Because I realize that people don't have information. They go through things, but they don't have information. They don't get to the hospital early to get help.
True.
So hence this program.
True.
I want to know, what is cervical cancer?
Okay, so cervical cancer is just cancer of the cervix.
Okay.
And cancer of the cervix, just like cancer of every other part of the body, has its own particular cause. The cervix is the part of the womb that is found in the vagina. It's described as the opening of the womb or the neck of the womb. It's what opens up when a woman is going to deliver. If a woman should put her finger in her vagina, she's going to feel the cervix. It feels like the tip of the nose.
That's right.
Yes, in the vagina.
Okay.
So where the cervix is in fact, it makes it a bit difficult for you to really see when there's a problem. Okay, so that's also why the cervical cancer is killing a lot of women, because it's very difficult to detect. By the time you realize you actually have a problem, it's already too late because of how far the cervix is and the fact that you don't even see when there's a problem there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. What are the causes of cervical cancer?
Okay, so cervical cancer is mainly caused by a virus we call HPV, or the human papilloma virus.
Okay.
Unfortunately, a lot of people don't know about this, but HPV is sexually transmitted.
It's sexually transmitted?
It is. It is. It is mainly sexually transmitted.
Okay.
So if you have sex with someone who has the virus, you end up getting it. It's not the kind of virus that you say, oh, it's the men who transmit it. When we talk about sexually transmitted infections, it's not just a one-party thing. It goes both ways. So a man will have it, give it to a woman. The woman will also give it to another man, who will give it to another woman, and we keep spreading it.
Many years ago, I listened to a talk like this, and I got to know, you are telling me something different.
Okay.
Because I got to know that the men are the carriers of the human papilloma virus.
Okay.
So they give it to the women, they carry it, but it doesn't affect them in any way. They give it to the woman, and the woman, gets infected, and it goes on and on.
Okay.
So it's a different thing right now, I'm hearing.
No. So HPV is not just a one-party carrier.
Okay.
Okay. And in the same way the woman can get cancer of the cervix with the HPV, the men...
That's...
Yes. So unfortunately, right now our young ones are having sex early, and it's very worrying. Okay, so those who have sex early, who are infected with the virus early, end up getting the cancer early. Unlike in the olden days where someone will get cancer and it should be like 50 or 60 years. Right now we are getting people who are even in their 20s who are getting cancer.
Wow.
Yes, because of how early we are having sex.
Wow.
Yes.
So those of us, let me add, I don't want to be like those of us who are very sexually active, we don't respect sex. Right now, yes, I mean, sex is, we don't place any value on sex. We feel sex is just some kind of game.
Yes,
and then we play game and for pleasure. Somebody can have a one-night stand with somebody and it is nothing. We don't, the sanctity of, that thing has become like, nobody places value on sex
Yes.
these days.
Yes.
You can't tell a young woman to wait till she's married before hey, you'll be her enemy.
Yes.
So maybe apart from the spiritual or the moral side, listen to the nurse. She's telling us that if you have sex early, you are prone to having cervical cancer early. And in all, people have cervical cancer as early as in their 20s.
Yes. We've had recorded cases where people in their 20s have had to go through surgery to have their whole womb removed because they had cancer.
Wow.
Yes, it can get that bad.
So the risk factors are when you have sex early?
So that's the first one. The other one is having multiple sexual partners, like you are describing. If you've had a lot of sexual partners, your chances of getting the HPV is very much increased from any of them. You could have the virus from any one of them. And the unfortunate thing is, we have different types of the virus, different strains. There are some types we call the high-risk virus, and then there are others we call the low-risk virus. So the high-risk virus are the ones that usually cause the cancer, and we have different types of them.
Please tell us.
We have 16, we have 18, we have 32, 34, 59, 52. There are a lot of the numbers, but each of those can cause cancer. And the worst is the 16 and the 18. They are the ones that cause cancer in about 60 to 70% of women. Somebody can unfortunately have a type 16 and a type 52 because she's had more than one sexual partner.
So you can have all the two at the same time?
Yes. Some people, I've seen someone who actually had 4 different types of the virus.
You don't say?
Yes. So with that person, her chances of getting cancer is very high because all of them would keep themselves and decide that I won't have sex till I get married. Your chances of getting it is at least reduced. Especially if you're able to get another God-fearing man who also decides to wait till he gets married. Then both of you don't even have anything to worry about because you haven't been anywhere before.
These days, you can't tell, I'm a marriage counselor, you can't tell couple who are getting ready to get married not to have sex. They will curse you. Yes, they will curse you.
It means that they have already started doing
yes.
it.
Yes. But the thing, they start before coming.
Before they start coming for counseling.
Yeah, before they start coming for counseling, they have done
yes,
everything.
They
have gone through all their styles and everything. They just want to validate it. That's all. Wow. Do you have any statistics for consideration?
Yes. So cervical cancer happens to be the second most common cancer among women.
Second most
common cancer.
What's the first?
The first is breast cancer.
Okay.
So we actually diagnose a lot of breast cancers, but the difference between the cervical cancer and the breast cancer is not even much.
Okay.
But cervical cancer happens to be the first leading cause of cancer death in women. So it means that cervical cancer is killing more women than breast cancer.
Wow.
Yes. Like I described earlier, you see, breast cancer, because of all the outreach and education we have made, a lot of people know about what to look out for. So it's easier to detect the symptoms early so that you can go for treatment. Unlike cervical cancer, where you won't see your cervix to see what is going on there. So by the time you actually start having any kind of symptoms, you already have the cancer.
So you could have the cancer without having any form of symptom at all? Nothing?
Nothing.
And you could carry it for years?
Oh, you carry it for years. Cancer develops over years.
Wow.
Yes.
What do we do then?
So there's this test we call a Pap Smear, which is recommended that every woman should be able to do a Pap Smear regularly, like every 2 years. If you are like 21 years, you started having sex, make sure to do a Pap Smear every 2 or 3 years.
So if you are like 21 years up,
yes,
you should have a Pap Smear every 2 years.
2 or 3 years, yes. Because that is the only way by which we can see if there's a problem at the cervix. Okay. Otherwise, it's very difficult to tell.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. So the Pap Smear is recommended for every woman.
For every
if you are
woman.
sexually active from
Exactly.
21, even
From
at
21.
18. I mean, you are saying 21, but I would say if you are 17 and you are sexually active,
Yes.
please.
So initially we used to say that 2 years after your first sexual contact, make sure you start doing Pap smears.
Okay.
At least up to 2 years from when you started having sex, make sure to do a Pap smear. So if you started having sex at 16, yes, come and do a Pap smear at 18.
You are saying 16. I saw a video of a 10-year-old.
Yeah, I heard that recently.
Yes,
I was really
yes,
surprised.
10 years. So 10 years, 9 years, they are having sex.
It's serious.
They are having sex. So if you are 10 and you are having sex, you could still get.
Yes. So we've actually had a case where a woman brought her 15-year-old to the hospital for a vaccination. We'll talk about that one later. And we had to talk to the girl. We didn't want to just assume that because she's little and her mom has brought her, so we'll just go ahead and give. We had to pull her aside, talk to her, and explain things to her before she admitted that she had had sex before. And she has been with like 2 or 3 guys already.
At 15.
And the mother didn't know about it. In fact, the mommy almost died in the hospital because she thought her daughter was a good girl.
Virgin. So nowadays, things that are happening.
It's sad.
It's
sad, actually.
A daughter of mine told me, Mommy, let Jesus come for us to go. If we should go, then we know. I mean, because things that are happening these days are very, very scary.
Yes,
when we were growing up, we weren't seeing this.
No.
You know, but now, 10-year-old could tell you they have a boyfriend and they know what they do with their boyfriend.
Yes.
It's serious. So you were talking about the statistics and then the consideration.
Yes. Globally, you can have about 570,000 women being diagnosed of cancer every year. Every year.
570,000.
Every
year.
Every year, over.
So those are the diagnosed ones.
Yes.
How about those that they don't even have an idea of what?
That's the unfortunate part. And out of this 570, we have more than 300,000 of them dying every year.
Wow.
So there's more than the number diagnosed that are dying.
Wow.
Yes. When we come down to Ghana, here in Ghana, we have over 3,000 cases that we record every year. And we have about 2,000 of them dying every year.
3,000 every year?
Yes.
And 2,000? More than
3,000.
Wow.
And out of the number, we have like more than 2,000 of them dying.
This is serious. And
yes,
this should be a big, you should have a big outreach. I mean, get to women groups, because it's like we are playing with our health.
We are doing it. We are doing as much as we can. That's also why I'm here. I as soon as we are called, we always make sure to be there because we want to reach out to as many people as we can. I was working at the gynae units I think I was there for like almost 4 years. And the whole time I was there, every week, we have about 3 or 4 people that are admitted with cervical cancer. By the end of the week, somebody would die. It was like a routine.
Wow.
It was that bad. Like, in a day, we could admit like 3 people with cervical cancer that have been diagnosed. The following day, you would have more.
Wow.
Yes.
What can one do? What can be the signs and symptoms of this? When it starts early, let me ask this. So I'm a lay person, not a medical person, but I just want to ask, when it starts and maybe there's a pap smear and you realize you have, can you have a total hysterectomy to, solve the problem?
Okay, so before we go to that, when we are talking about the signs and symptoms, initially there are no signs. So you have sex with somebody, you're infected with the virus.
You don't know.
You don't know you've been infected.
It's there.
It's there. The virus can stay at the cervix from like 10 to 20 years. It can stay there for that long that you still wouldn't know you have a problem. And during
You
that,
could have children.
oh yes, you would live your normal life, have sex, have children. You won't know you have a virus. That is actually building up for your future, unfortunately. So during that 10 to 20 years, it starts to cause some abnormal changes at the cervix. Okay, these abnormal changes keep growing and keep
Is that what we
spreading.
have here?
Yes, yes. So I don't know if the camera can zoom in.
Maybe the camera should zoom in for us.
Yes, so that I show what we are talking about. So this is how the normal cervix looks like. So for someone who hasn't delivered before, the cervix looks like this.
Okay.
After delivery, it tends to open up, but this is how a normal cervix looks like.
Okay.
Okay. After an HPV infection, after some years, we tend to see changes like this.
Can you zoom in so that they
Yes.
see?
Please, can you zoom in on this line so that we see what we are talking about? So these are some of the changes that we see at the cervix.
Wow.
And if not seen at this stage, that is when it develops into cancer. So somebody can have the cancer in like a 10-year period after being infected with the virus. Somebody can stay as long as 15 or even 20 years before they get to the cancer stage. Okay, usually if you are young and you get the virus, a lot of the time your body is able to clear it off. But there are some times where if your immune system is not strong enough to be able to clear the virus, it tends to stay for a long time. That's what we
Okay,
call...
so let me get this. When you are young and you get the virus, your system could.
It's possible.
It's possible, not a
Yes,
guarantee.
Yes. So if you have a very strong immune system, so one of the risk factors happen to be for someone who has a low immune system, maybe someone who has HIV or somebody who has some medical condition or just somebody who naturally doesn't take care of themselves well. But if you have a low immune system, you could very well get the cancer if you have the HPV very early compared to somebody who has a very strong immune system.
Okay.
Some people, their immune system is able to suppress the virus for a long time.
Okay.
And then when you have grown up to a certain stage where your immune system is a bit low, then the virus now starts to show itself.
Okay.
But then a lot of the time when you are young, your body is able to clear the virus.
Wow.
Yes. So if the changes are not seen this early, then the woman ends up having the cancer. And that is the point that we really can't do much about. Should I lift it up so that you look at it well?
Yes.
So the last line.
If we
This
could,
is where the cancer is.
okay.
So that's it.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's the cancer.
Yes, yes.
Good.
It can actually get really bad, such that you don't even see the cervix at all because the cancer keeps spreading, it keeps spoiling the cervix. You know, in a layman's term, when you are describing a cancer, you can describe it as a sore that never heals, and then it keeps spreading. So it's spreading, it's spoiling everything along its path. And it won't just affect the cervix, it
To affect other things, other organs.
Yes, and then it spreads up, and that's what kills actually, because if it spreads up, it affects your kidneys, it affects your stomach,
lungs, and
all
everything.
of that. It goes up. Before you realize, your body is shutting down because
Wow.
there's cancer everywhere.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Viewers, I'm sure you are learning a lot from this. And I believe that after today, if you're a woman, please, wherever you are, go to any hospital. Have a Pap smear done. If you've never done one in a long while. Our lady is telling us that once every 2 years, right?
Yes.
Once every 2 years, you check. Then there could be something done about it. If you leave it and you don't go and you're like, most of us, we are afraid of going to the hospital to check up.
Yes.
We only go to the hospital when there is something wrong.
Yes.
But if we have occasional checkups, maybe every year you go and do a thorough checkup, you could find all these things. Let's take very good care of ourselves.
So with cervical cancer, one high risk about it is waiting to see symptoms. Because like I explained, when you have the virus, you don't show any symptoms. After the virus has been there for some time, it starts to cause changes. It still doesn't show any symptoms. So
Wow.
you don't even know that there are some abnormal changes
So it's a
going on.
silent killer.
Exactly. By the time you start having symptoms, it means you actually have the cancer. So it's only when you get the cancer that you're going to have any form of symptoms at all. And that is when a woman starts bleeding during sex, or she starts having very severe pain during sex, or she's having very abnormal vaginal discharge. It smells like rotting meat or rotten egg.
Ooh.
Yes. Some people tend to have very abnormal bleedings or bleeding in between periods. And for our older women who have reached menopause, they tend to start bleeding again. And it could also lead to unexplained weight loss. And as it's spreading, it's affecting other parts of the body, where you could also have urine retention, very severe low abdominal pain and waist pain, and then it's still spreading. So when you start having any of those symptoms, sometimes if you don't take care, it's already too late. And the reason why a lot of women come to the hospital and they die is because they come in the late stage.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, people start having symptoms. Maybe they are having the irregular bleeding, or they are having abnormal vaginal discharge, and they end up doing herbals. Before you realize, it is actually getting worse. By the time they realize that it's getting worse, I should go to the hospital, it's actually already too late, and the cancer has spread. So that is why a lot of women die, because the cancer itself spreads way faster than the changes. The changes spread over a long period of time. Okay. But when the cancer starts, within a few months, it has spread to other parts of the body and you're almost dying.
Wow.
That's how bad it is.
So the symptoms are what you just presented to us.
Yes.
How can it be prevented?
So one main way by preventing, when we talk about prevention, we always talk about primary prevention, then the secondary, then the tertiary. Okay. So primary prevention, it starts with lifestyle modification. Okay. So abstinence, if you can, it is the best way to avoid HPV, abstinence. Otherwise, be faithful. Just stick to one partner.
That's the difficult part.
That is it.
No, you can remain faithful. How about the partner?
Yes. So for some reason, and with, I don't know, I don't want to call it modernization or whatever, but it's like the men are beginning to accept the fact that it's okay for a man to cheat.
Yes.
And
that's
if you have more than one man, more than one woman, that makes you a man. Yes. I mean, I don't know when that started, but it's bad. Okay. It is actually increasing the spread of sexually transmitted infections, including the HPV.
Why? I'm just surprised why we are not hearing about all these things on radios, on TVs, because many people are in that. When you said it could stay, you could have the infection for. Did you hear my audience shout?
Yeah, I did.
Everybody was like, "Eh."
I did.
We don't even know, and I'm hearing this for the first time. I've heard talks on these.
Yes. So January is usually the cervical cancer month. So January, February, and sometimes even March, we do a lot of outreach during that period. So we go to most of the TV stations, most of the radio stations, we will go to offices, we go to schools.
The sad part is when you are sitting on TV talking about these things, people will just flip.
Yes.
They are going to watch a telenovela.
Yes.
I'm sure if we're talking about love or something, our viewership will just skyrocket right now. But I'm sure somebody came in and it's like, oh, cervical cancer, high drink. Then they go to the next place.
Some people just say that, oh, cancer, meaning to me, cancer. Hey. They don't even know what type of cancer it is. They don't know what you're talking about. All they see is cancer, meaning to me, cancer. Then they flip. And I know this because a lot of the time when people are actually referred to come do a Pap Smear, maybe they have a problem and they go see a doctor and they tell them, come and do a Pap Smear. And you ask them, have you heard about Pap Smear before? Or have you heard about cervical cancer? It's either they haven't heard at all, or they have but they didn't listen. A lot of the time they'll tell you, oh, Meteor TV, so Meteor Radio, so. So what did you hear? Yeah. Oh, man, she didn't hear. So even though we are going out and we are doing all this, we still don't have people who are hearing because they are not listening.
Because this is very serious.
Yes.
I mean, it's serious than we think, and it's
They say, yeah. But then they probably didn't even do a pap smear. Some people come to do a test, and all they know is make a hospital, yeah, and me test. So when we are talking about coming to do a pap smear, you start describing, then they think that, oh, okay, there are different tests that we do. A pap smear is not painful.
Yeah.
It is not. Yeah. For those who have done it before, they would know. It is not painful. I've done it so many times.
Yes,
it is
I've
not.
Done it before.
It's uncomfortable. The discomfort is having something being put in your vagina.
Yeah.
Okay, and most of the time we let whoever we are doing the test for understand that because your cervix is high up in your vagina, we need to be able to see the cervix because that is where we are doing the test from. So that's why we need to put something in the vagina. It's a little uncomfortable. So for those who haven't done a pap smear before, I would actually recommend that please come and do a pap smear. It's not painful.
So can we, as a church, maybe put ourselves together and then you come and do, or we have to come to the hospital?
Well, it could be arranged. So depending on, don't worry, just talk to us when you are ready. Okay. If you're able to get the numbers, you talk to us when you're ready. We'll see what we can do about it.
Okay, so for those watching, maybe how many people, maybe a church group, a group, women's group, you want to have a pap smear done?
Yes.
Like how many people then you come, or you don't want to say on air?
No, I don't want to say on air. But then if anybody decides that they want to have a pap smear done, even if they are just 20, and they are willing to do, and everybody's going to be present, we won't mind coming all the way there to do the test for you.
So we'll talk about hours after the show.
Yes, after the show.
Okay. So for the prevention, that's about it?
So the pap smear is one of the main things that we talk about when we are doing, and then there's also a vaccination.
Okay, yeah.
Yes. So vaccination is what we give to prevent a lady from getting HPV. Vaccination is also available for the men. So we start with the vaccination from as early as 9 years. We want to give our kids the vaccination so that when they grow up and they start having sex, they won't be prone to getting the HPV.
Okay.
We want to be able to build our future such that we will be able to get rid of HPV. A lot of the developed countries have been able to achieve this. Oh. So for those that they are recording HPV-related cancers there as at now, are those who aren't even born there. Okay. Because over the years, they have been giving the injection to those who were born there, they have their record. When you are 9 years, the hospital will just call you. It's time for you to come for your injection. If you don't come, they will come to your house.
Wow. If you don't come, they will come to the house.
Oh, yes.
And I wish that Ghana, we put that in our,
Unfortunately, that would be a bit difficult. Because even here, as at now, the vaccination is not even on insurance. And it's quite expensive.
Let us go for a quick commercial break. We will be back. Please, don't go anywhere. The conversation is getting interesting. Don't go, share. Let somebody, tag somebody, copy and, share, paste in every group you belong to, women's group. Put it everywhere because we are learning a lot. We'll be right back. To work like an Priscilla, can they come up here and ask? Frederica, right? Frederica Crunchy, a senior midwife from the Reproductive Health Center, Kolebu, and she's doing justice to the topic today. I've learned so much, and I'm sure you at home are learning a lot. If we're talking about love, I'm sure we'd have more than 200, 300 people watching us. But health talk, people shy away from it, and we are dying slowly in ignorance. Please, so much information is being given here. Tag somebody, copy and send to somebody's WhatsApp. Tell them, listen to this. It will help you. So we're talking about prevention.
Yes.
And you've told us about prevention. What about treatment options?
Okay, so treatments usually start from after a Pap Smear is done and we have seen the abnormal changes. If it has spread. So there's also times where we do both the surgery and the chemotherapy.
Okay.
Yes.
And it helps?
Yes, it helps. But all that is when we have seen it early. Because there are some times where the changes have spread so much so that when you have removed the uterus and you are doing the chemotherapy, because of how strong the chemotherapy is, it even makes the client weaker. And when the client is weak, she can't go through chemotherapy. She will end up dying because the cancer will still be spreading.
Wow.
Because then you won't know which one will kill faster, whether it is the chemotherapy or the cancer. And then sometimes you're at a loss for what to do for the person. Okay. But then there are some times where we're able to do both. We do the surgery, we do the chemo or the radio, and the person will be fine. Because that one targets the cancer cells in the rest of the body, where it just takes care of all those abnormal cells in the rest of the body.
This is very serious, eh?
Yeah.
We were talking about the vaccination before we went to the break.
Yes.
So you were saying that vaccination starts as early as 9.
As 9 years, yes.
To what age?
So vaccination is ideal for people between 9 and 26 if they haven't had sex before. It works perfectly for those who have never had sex before, between 9 years and 26.
Okay.
For a 9-year-old up to a 14-year-old, we give them 2 injections. They take one, 6 months later, they take a second one.
And that's a complete dose?
Yes, for life.
Okay.
And for 15 up to the 26, they take 3 injections. So when they take one, a month later, they take the second one. Then 5 months later, they take the third one. I think they tend to see blood in it. They have a lot of pain in the lower abdomen as well.
Wow.
Yes. And there's one more thing I forgot. HPV doesn't only cause cervical cancer and cancer of the penis. HPV, because it's sexually transmitted, for every where that there is sexual contact, you can get HPV infection. So for those who do oral sex, if you end up doing the oral sex with somebody who has the virus, you can get throat cancer.
Oh.
Yes.
So if you have oral sex, you give somebody
Both
a
the
BJ.
man or the woman. So if the woman is doing the BJ, she can end up getting throat cancer. If the man is doing it, he can also get throat cancer.
Hey, Asamo.
Unfortunately.
Are you hearing what I'm hearing here today?
And then for those, right now, for some strange reason, anal sex is becoming a thing.
Yes.
I don't know why.
It's becoming the ish, somebody would say. But it's becoming the ish.
Having sex with somebody who has HPV, aside the fact that you are at risk of getting the cancer of the penis or cancer of the cervix, you can get cancer of the anus. With HPV infection. Because with every ejaculation into the anus, you can get cancer. And for the gays, they are also at a very high risk of getting cancer of the anus.
Wow.
Yes.
So the HPV, that's a lot of magic.
Yes.
You can get throat
so wherever
cancer.
there is the sexual contact.
So if it's anus, you have it at the anus.
Yes.
If it's the
mouth.
Okay.
This uterus, I think, is a little pregnant.
Is it pregnant,
Yes,
eh?
it's a
Because
pregnant
it's
uterus.
big.
It's big. Yeah, so this is the cervix. Okay.
Okay.
So this lady has delivered before.
Okay.
So this is how the cervix looks like when we open up the vagina. This is what we use to open up the vagina. It's called a speculum. We usually use this plastic one, and it's disposable.
Okay.
Okay.
You don't use it for two people?
No. It's disposable. When we take it out of you, we dump it.
Okay.
It's disposable. And it's plastic. And it's not the whole bit that goes into the vagina. Just this part of the beak. Just this part goes into the vagina. But we just open it a little to be able to see the cervix like this. So when we're able to see the cervix, then we know that, okay, we are ready to do the test. Then we have this brush. It's a very soft brush.
Yeah.
A very soft brush.
Yeah.
So it just goes in to clean the cervix. That is all we are doing. We are just taking the cells, but we are cleaning the cervix, sort of. And then we wash it in this bottle. This bottle goes to the lab.
Okay.
Okay. So this is all the Pap smear is about. So the whole discomfort is when this one enters your vagina. It's not painful at all. It's just a little uncomfortable because, well, a woman, you don't expect to have things being inserted all that. So if you have somebody inserting something like this, it's quite uncomfortable.
But it's not painful.
No.
I have done Pap smear. It's not painful.
No, it's not painful.
No.
So all we are doing is just cleaning the cervix, and then the sample goes to the lab. That is all it is for a Pap smear.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so if we see it early, especially at the first stage or second stage, it's easy to treat. Sometimes just a surgery and you'll be okay.
Okay.
The healing process here, it's individualized.
Oh, okay.
But then, if we see it early, treatment is easier.
Okay. If they see it early, treatment is easier. Okay. Somebody wants to know, does cervical cancer prevent pregnancy?
No.
So you could carry pregnancy with the cancer?
So, if it has developed into the cancer stage, to even get pregnant will be difficult in the sense that you'll be having a lot of pain during sex and a lot of bleeding during sex.
Okay.
Which will make it difficult for you to even go to have the sex to get pregnant. Okay. If it's the abnormal changes, like I said, when the abnormal changes start over the period of years, you don't even know that you have a problem. You can still get pregnant, you still have all your children. But when you have the cancer itself, usually if we see that a pregnant woman has cancer or has developed cancer, we don't allow her to even deliver through the vagina because it won't be possible.
Then she have to go to surgery.
Exactly. But then if you have the cancer, getting pregnant will be difficult. Yes.
Okay. But you could carry the virus and still have all your children.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. It's cervical cancer the only okay, so it's the person is asking, is that the only vaccine available for the cervical cancer? That what you are talking about, is it the only
The virus?
the vaccine?
The vaccine.
Yes.
So the vaccines, yes, we have two different types of the vaccines actually, but the ones we have currently covers either 2 types of the virus or 4 types of the virus.
Okay.
And we recommend that you take the one that covers 4, even though that one is more expensive. But that one works better and covers a lot more than the just 2.
So the vaccine is expensive and it's not on insurance too.
Unfortunately,
How
no.
do we expect people to even go and have?
So we encourage that we try and do it for our young ones. And for us, if you can't do the vaccination, make sure you do the test regularly.
Yes. Okay. Okay, so somebody's asking, is it like inherited? Is it?
Okay, so we've had that question a lot. No, it's sexually transmitted.
Not.
It doesn't necessarily bind with your DNA for you to give birth to your children with, no.
Okay.
And a lot of people also assume that if you get infections, maybe untreated infections or recurrent infections, you can get cancer. No.
So that's the next question. Can other medical conditions cause
Yes,
cervical cancer?
I saw that coming.
Yes, yes. They're asking
No.
other medical. So it's strictly the HPV.
The HPV, yes.
That causes cervical
Yes.
cancer. Okay, so what are some of the alarming discharges to tell one has the infection? You said that, but please reiterate.
So I mentioned that if someone has very offensive discharge, it should smell like rotting fish or rotten egg. It's not just the normal vaginal infections that we have.
Yeah.
No. But then if somebody keeps having recurrent infections, she treats it, it goes, it comes back, she will treat, it goes, it comes back. I would recommend that she has a Pap Smear done.
Okay.
But the very indication for a cancer when you have it, the discharge is very, very, very offensive discharge. And the kind that actually sticks with you. I mean, if somebody has that kind of discharge, the scent, as soon as the person enters, from there to here, you will start smelling it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's that bad.
So that's what you go through in the hospital.
Yes, so it's that bad that when somebody comes and the person is having that kind of discharge, we put them on the side ward. That's like the back of the ward. And then in the morning, when everybody is going to bath, they are made to bath last, because when they enter the bathroom to bath, nobody can enter there again.
Jesus.
Because the kind of scent they leave there, even the cleaners will come and complain the whole day because they can't stand it.
Wow.
Yes.
Hey, please, if you are watching, don't let us get to that stage.
Oh yes, we don't want to get to that stage.
We don't want to get there. We don't want to get there. Please, let's get information. Let's get information. Don't let us just. I'm just worried that people don't want to get information about these things. They'll rather want to talk about fashion, talk about sex, talk about love and all that. But this is the real deal. Please, if somebody is not watching, please tell the person to come and watch. If after the show, please share to somebody, give it to a lady you are friends with. Let her know what is going on. Because how can I be by myself if I'm smelling that bad and people are shying away from me?
Yes.
The trauma itself will kill you more than the disease.
I've had one instance where I was in a church and the woman sitting in front of me, oh my God, like she had that typical scent. And I think it hadn't really gotten that bad, but you could really smell it. And everybody around, like almost everyone in the car was holding their nose. So she was sitting directly in front of me. So I actually just prompted her and I spoke in her ears and I told her that I think she should go to the hospital and have what we call a Pap Smear done. And I asked her that, has she been having any discharges? And she said, oh, she hasn't noticed.
Oh,
and
it's
I
a
said,
lie.
are you sure? Do you smell anything bad coming out of your vagina? And she said, oh, sometimes. I said she should go have a Pap Smear done. I don't want to scare her, but she should just go have a Pap Smear done. I don't know whether she did or not, but in fact, that day, as soon as she got down from the car, everybody started talking.
Wow. We are coming to the end of the program, but we want to hear, Frederica, your take-home message.
We've spoken a lot.
Yes.
We have. Usually my take-home message is to reinforce on the fact that we don't want to wait to have symptoms before we go to the hospital. Cervical cancer can be treated early if seen early. Let's have a Pap Smear done. Okay? I always want to emphasize on the fact that there's no need to be worried about what's going to be done for you or how a Pap Smear is going to be done. Just worry about the fact that you don't want to have a cancer. So even if it's going to be painful, I mean, it's just for a few minutes, rather than having cancer for whatever that you probably wouldn't even be able to treat and can even kill you. I mean, which is better? Okay, and some people also worry about how expensive a Pap Smear is. And I always tell you that try one session of chemotherapy.
And you would know.
Yes, it is not even like 1/10 of the cost of a Pap Smear.
Yeah.
one session of a chemotherapy.
We are concerned about our hair and our dresses more than,
You know? And then we get to the stage where we are now actually going to live our life, and then we are told we have cancer. You have somebody who is just 35 or 40, and you are told you have cancer. And you have to go through chemotherapy, and you will be losing the hair that you are actually worried about.
Oh, my God. We've had a very, very fruitful conversation.
Yeah.
Please, don't let it end here. Like I said, talk to somebody. And for us, we'll get back to you to have our Pap Smear done here.
Okay.
We'll let you come and do it here. Once we have your contact, we will do it. And then the third one I heard today is about the cancer of the penis. It's a whole new thing for me. Cancer, you don't know what is happening here. That's why we are laughing. Please, I want to acknowledge some people who have been a blessing to me. My hair was done by Flora Hair. Please follow Flora Hair on all social media handles, and you can contact her on 0242-816-434. This beautiful hair was done by Flora Hair. My beautiful makeup is by Shades by Penna. Follow her on all social media handles. She does very beautiful makeup. You can contact her on 059-688-7601. My costume today is by Sas Couture. Sas Couture, 0242-870-412. She would sort you out big time. I'm sure you have been blessed. I'm sure you have learned a lot. Please, watch again. Watch this show again. And what you missed, you would get it back. If you have any concerns, please walk to the nearest hospital. If you want to have a Pap Smear done, walk to the nearest hospital. Not just the Pap. So the men, what do they do? If Pap Smear is for the women, what do the men do?
So I think that's where the part about men being carriers come in. Unfortunately, we don't have the test for the men regularly like we do for the women. So for the men, before you realize they have cancer.
So they cannot even go for a test to find out if there is something.
So then if your partner has, it means that you have. Okay, so if we're able to find out that the woman has, it means that her partner has, which means he should be
treated.
Careful, yes.
Wow. Why, you have a question? Do you have a question? Yes.
Yes, I think I mentioned it earlier. He's asking if we have symptoms if a man has. Yes, I mentioned it earlier. So a man will only have symptoms when he has the cancer. Not when the changes start, just like the woman wouldn't even also notice. So that's where you see that you have sores on the penis. You can have very severe pain during sex or during ejaculation. You will have bleeding when you're peeing, or blood in your semen when it's coming out. You would have very severe low abdominal pain or waist pain. Yes, all those.
Well, Frederica, our time is up, and we want to say thank you for honoring our invitation. We've really, really learned so much. Yes. And I know that we'll call on you very, very soon.
Okay.
God bless you for coming. And God bless you for sticking and staying with us. Please, we'll be back with the Glam Show next 2 weeks. God bless you.